let me tell you a little something about Deoxys. Deoxys does not take your crap. Alright, the two forms that are legal in OU right now are Deoxys-S and Deoxys-D. They both play pretty different roles, Deoxys-S being a revenge killer mostly, and Deoxys-D being a hazard setter. And they're both known for making an excellent core with Bisharp. And the point is, this is mostly with Deoxys-D though. The point is that you get up your hazards, basically unopposed, because Deoxys-D has massive defenses, and it has taunt to stop other people from setting up hazards on you. And then Bisharp's Defiance ability keeps you from, it discourages you from using Defog, because basically what happens then is Bisharp gets a +2 attack boost because you're lowering its evasion. That's the other effect of Defog. And now, Deoxys-S is a little bit different. Deoxys-S can set up a hazard of its own, but that's better left to Deoxys-D. Deoxys-S is famous for its massive 180 base speed and its wide move pool. It's got I think the standard set for the revenge killing set is Ice Beam. So, oh yeah, it has just enough speed to outspeed Choice Scarf Garchomp and can easily OHKO with Ice Beam even without a Life Orb. Although I do believe you have to run close to max special attack in order to get that OHKO. But most Deoxys-S do run Life Orb, and they also run Superpower. So if you want to bring in your Bisharp or your Tyranitar, nope. Superpower is an OHKO on even Mega Tyranitar with a Life Orb and a minimal amount of attack investment. I guess you could Sucker Punch, but it's always a guessing game, because if you predict the switch wrong, you can just get Superpower to death with your Bisharp. And if you use Pursuit and they stay in, you're dead. Another great move that Deoxys-S has access to that it can actually make use of now is Knock Off. So Deoxys-S makes a great revenge killer for Pokemon like Latios and Latios, the rare Alakazam, opposing Deoxys, stuff like that. And then it also has its stab move. Judging by all the moves I listed there, it would seem like Pokemon like Keldeo or Conkeldurr would make good checks, but then you're forgetting that Deoxys-S is actually is a Psychic type, and despite how poor the typing is in the metagame right now, it does get access to its unique stab called Psycho Boost, and Psycho Boost is insanely powerful. Even off of Deoxys-S's below average 95 base special attack, it'll always OHKO Conkeldurr even with Assault Vest, it'll OHKO it with a Life Orb. So now you're wondering, how the fuck do I beat this shit? Well, I'm gonna tell you how. The most important thing to remember about Deoxys-S is that most of its EVs are allocated into its special attack, meaning that that walls oriented more towards the specially defensive side are more likely to do well. I think Ferrothorn is a pretty important one to remember in this category. And while it's not gonna stop something like Deoxys-D from setting up hazards, it will not take too much from Deoxys-S's superpower. Deoxys-S will also take Iron Barb's damage on top of Life Orb damage, and you can always use Protect to gain your HP back with leftovers. Deoxys-S's attack is pretty lackluster, and most revenge killing sets don't run all that much attack, because its main attacking moves are going to be Psycho Boost and Ice Beam anyway. You do run the risk of getting your leftovers knocked off, but the opportunity cost of that is that they take more Iron Barb's damage and more Life Orb recoil. In fact, you could probably just go straight for the Power Whip and KO that Deoxys-S. Deoxys-S does have decent defenses, but unfortunately its HP also lets it down, meaning that it's outclassed as a bulky attacker by its brother Deoxys-D. Now Deoxys-D is a whole different monster. Deoxys-D is not really the attacking kind. If you want to stop Deoxys-D, your goal is to stop it from setting up hazards, and your main outlet for doing so is with Taunt. I think Thunder is a great mention for this, because it actually gets a Prankster Taunt. So no matter how fast that Deoxys is and how slow your Thunder is maybe for some reason, your Taunt will always go before it. And don't count on Bisharp anymore to stop Deoxys-D, because often the only attacking move that Deoxys-D will carry is Superpower, and with a minimal amount of attack investment, it will actually OHKO your Bisharp. even with the middling 70 attack stat. Another move that Deoxys-D will carry often is Thunder Wave. And this is another reason why Thunder is such a great Pokemon to lead out with, just because it really won't care whether it can't get paralyzed. Bulky ground types are also good, so you can set up hazards alongside it. If you think you have a reliable spinner that will get rid of the hazards later, then feel free to just let it set up hazards in the beginning and set up hazards of your own for bulky ground type, because it really can't do anything to you. Pokemon like Garchomp, Powdon are also great. When going up against Deoxys-D, well, first of all, you have to question, how are you going to control hazards? Do you have a default user, or do you have a rapid spin user? If you have a rapid spin user, you're a little bit more safe, because it's more than likely that you're carrying Excadrill. And Excadrill is actually a fairly powerful check for Deoxys-D's partner in crime, Bisharp. The only way that Bisharp's going to KO you is if you're either severely weakened, or if it has Swords Dance. And lucky for you, Swords Dance is actually declining in usage in favor of moves like Pursuit, in order to trap Latios and Latias. And another thing to keep in mind when facing Deoxys-D is Aegislash is another great check for Deoxys-D, since Bisharp doesn't really like Sacred Sword. It's a real risk switching in Bisharp on an Aegislash if you don't have Pursuit, because often they will carry the Sacred Sword. A lot of them, the wall breaking sets run max speed. And again, Aegislash is another Pokemon that doesn't really care about paralysis, doesn't care about taunt too much. You're not going to be King Shielding against Deoxys-D anytime soon. And it's also great against Deoxys-S, just because it won't take too much from knockoff, and it takes minimal damage from all the other moves, and will easily KO with Shadow Ball, or 2-hit KO with Shadow Sneak even, if you're running a little bit of attack investment. Charizard Y also makes a pretty decent check to both Deoxys, although it will not enjoy paralysis very much. Thanks to its good special defense, it won't take a lot of damage from, or rather, it won't be immediately checked by Deoxys-S's Life Orb Psycho Boost, and can in turn 1-hit KO it back with Flamethrower. Likewise, if you're willing to run the risk of getting paralyzed, it 2-hit KOs Deoxys-D with Fire Blast, minimizing the amount of hazards it will set up. Not to mention that Timid Charizard Y, while not generally recommended, will be faster than that Jolly Deoxys, and you'll probably limit it to just one layer of hazards. It will also discourage the opponent from setting up Stealth Rocks just because you're leading with your Charizard, and that's often the mindset of especially beginners that are starting out competitive, is that you want to set up hazards to check certain Pokemon rather than pressure the opponent. I don't agree with this mindset, and I might do a separate video on the true intent behind competitive entry hazards. But that's not really the point of this video. The point is that Charizard Y, being a great wall breaker, can really put some pressure on both Deoxys forms, because neither can really do a lot to it. A more obscure option would be Sableye. Sableye again does get Prankster Taunt. It takes very little from any of Deoxys-S's attacks again, and it can respond with a Foul Play, since a lot of the time these Deoxys-D do run Jolly, even with some attack investment for Superpower. So if your team has room for Sableye, then that's also a pretty good check for both Deoxys forms. But again, Sableye is a more niche type of Pokemon, and not really seen in the OU metagame as much. So don't expect to just slap it on your team and expect it to work. There might be plenty of other examples that I may have missed. I suppose Mega Gyarados is another good Pokemon to go up against both Deoxys forms, just because it's very easy to just to predict the Superpower and not Mega Evolve. It puts a lot of pressure, especially on Deoxys-S. Because if you Mega Evolve and they use Psycho Boost, then, well, they're dead and they do no damage. If you don't Mega Evolve and they use Superpower, then you'll be taking no damage, because, first of all, you'll have Intimidate, so the pressure is already on them to expect you not to Mega Evolve and go for Psycho Boost. And it just becomes a whole mess, because Psycho Boost probably won't KO anyway, due to normal Gyarados' pretty decent special defense. And of course, knockoff and ice beam will do next to nothing. And if you're gutsy, you can probably even set up on Deoxys-S, although do note that at +1 you will still not outspeed it. If I were you, I would probably just attack it straight away. Deoxys-D is a little bit more of a risk, just because Superpower is its only attack, so it's in your favor not to Mega Evolve, and it can still set up hazards on you, it can Thunder Wave you, but you will be doing a pretty decent amount of damage, especially if you're one of those weird users of Mega Gyarados that likes to use Bite. The flinch chance is pretty nice too. So that's another check off the top of my head. Nevertheless, both Deoxys-D and Deoxys-S are S tier on Smogon's viability rankings, I should say, and it's for pretty good reason. Both of them are very threatening forces of the metagame. Not a lot check them, and not a lot on your team will really be able to stop them from doing their job. So definitely keep both the Dio Sharp archetype and Revenge Killer Deoxys-S in mind while building your team, and I hope my video helped you come up with some checks, even if I myself didn't list them specifically in this video. I hope it got you thinking about what you need to check Deoxys-D and Deoxys-S, because especially in the high caliber of OU play, you will be seeing them a lot. In fact, I myself use Deoxys-S on 2 of my teams, and sometimes I alternate between Deoxys-S and Deoxys-D. Not too big a fan of Deoxys-D, but I think Deoxys-S especially, the Revenge Killer set, is an absolute monster. You need to prepare for it. And again, I hope this video helped. Sorry for not uploading in about 2 weeks. I've been sort of busy. I'll be doing a showdown live, hopefully today, later, or tomorrow, sometime this weekend. So look forward to that. Like and subscribe. Thank you.